So, as a fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the novel, and the Francis Ford Coppola movie, I have been waiting forever for someone to do The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And it feels like I've been waiting about 20 years. I'm not kidding. And now we have this movie. And I was really hopeful it would live up to my expectations. And it did, for the most part. So, Last Voyage of Demeter, the Demeter, sorry. It basically, for those who may not know, it covers what happened to the people on board the vessel that took Dracula from where he was to England, right? In the book, it's covered, it's done like a captain's log, and the captain is talking about trip starts off really nice, everybody's in good spirits, and by the end, nobody makes it to England. So with that in mind, when you're talking prequels, especially a prequel in horror, it's always really difficult to make something like that interesting because we, the audience, feel like we know what happened. And what they managed to do here was you're still going to kind of know what the outcome is, but you don't know the whole story. And they play on that really, really well. I think the writing here was really strong for both the main story and the characters. I think the decisions made to keep Dracula in more of a monstrous form was a really smart one because this is a predator. These people are prey. There's no in between, right? I went to see this with my best friend Michelle, and she said something last night when we were talking about the movie. She said it was like Jeepers Creepers on the ocean, and I'm like, oh my god, you're so right. It's like the first Jeepers Creepers movie. This movie feels a lot like that, with a bigger, better production value. The design for Dracula, I absolutely loved it. Think Nosferatu, think Salem's Lot, and then think 10 times more monstrous than that. And they make the smart choice of the cinematography here. They make some really smart choices to shoot everything with what seems like natural lighting. So there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of shadows. And there are a lot of moments when you find yourself staring into that darkness, trying to figure out if he's there. And it works so well to put you in the shoes of the people on that ship. It pulls you into the story deeper. The score by Bear McCreary, I love his work in general, and he nails it here. The score for Dracula, it's so intense, it's so gothic, it fits so perfectly. The movie has a good pace to it. I was never bored at any point in time. I like the characters. I thought that they were, for the most part, really well written in the sense that they do not fall into those tropes. Most of them don't. I also like that they avoided the cliche of having these people kind of turn on each other and stuff like that. Yes, there is contention. Yes, there's paranoia. Like John Carpenter's The Thing. Whenever you have a bunch of people stuck together, isolated, something's hunting them, you're gonna get that. But what I really liked here is the sense that these men are sailors, and they never lose sight of the fact that they are known to work in adversity and pull together, even though they're facing something they've never faced before. So yeah, guys, as you can tell, I really enjoyed this movie. For me, the only thing is there's some plot stuff here that it felt like plot holes. Maybe it's just me nitpicking. It's more a matter of we tend to think we know because we've seen so many vampire movies. We tend to feel like, so why wouldn't you do a thing this way? Why attack? Why wait to attack when you should attack at this point in time, So there was some of that, and it does make for frustrating viewing, especially when something happens to one of the crew and you feel like at that moment a light bulb should have gone off, or in this case a lantern, and they should have been aware that, the better time to go hunting for this thing is in the daytime, and they don't, and it's frustrating to watch. But you know what, it's a matter of letting yourself go, letting yourself get sucked into the time period, to the story. This is such a classic throwback to classic types of horror, man versus monster. I would even go back further than the 80s. I would go back as far as of movies like Nosferatu, Frankenstein, Dracula, Universal Monsters. I absolutely loved it. I love the ending. I love the world building here, and I feel like this is a version of Dracula that we don't really get to see enough on screen. The monster, you know, it's not a sexy dude. He's not out here to seduce. He's out here to destroy, and I am all for it. The Last Voyage of Demeter, for me, strong. I would give this a strong 7 out of 10, and I feel like if you love these types of movies, this will satisfy you. If you don't, then I don't know what you're gonna go see this movie for in the first place.